Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are taking a trip down memory lane as I go through my racing journey from 2019 till now. It's been an incredible ride with plenty of highs, plenty of lows and some unforgettable moments, so let's get into it. Back in 2019, I debuted the Arnold Clark sponsored Pro Stock Basic. Our weapon of choice, a 1.25 Mark 6 Fiesta. At the time, the Formula had very few Mark 6s on track, with the most popular choice being the older Fiesta and Ford Kaz. The odd Toyota Yaris and Nissan Micros were also out on track. Our first appearance turned out to be quite a successful meeting, with a third in Heat 1. As you can see from this clip here, we went on to take the win in Heat 2.
The race leader's gone. So Callum Rennie into the lead for 20. David Van Deeken chasing hard in second place. So David Van Deeken in second. 764. And oh, we've got a car almost up onto its side there. Declan Winsdale. And so it's all happening on the back straight. And so it's going to be 5 racing laps to go then. And a dramatic heat number 2, so 5 laps for the race leaders. 764, Callum Rennie leads away. The car's on the back straight, trying to get going once more. So 764 are going to come round into the home straight now. So Callum Rennie leads away, almost in the world. David Van Deeken in second place. And a gap back to the chasing pack, trying to find out who's in third place. So they will be 663 in second place. So 663 is William Crawford. So it's somebody into the wall, and it may well be 663 who swipes off the home straight wall. But Callum Rennie got that marking traffic ahead with 2 racing laps to go. So 764, Callum Rennie with 2 racing laps. David Van Deeken still within touching distance. The 764 looks for a way past, putting a lap on 320. Dean Whitley, a Heat 1 winner. So 764 leads on to the back straight. Lee Adams, the back marking car number 50, just in front, and 764 almost gets the nose chopped off. And the checkers at the ready, and 764 just holds on.
We experienced some cooling issues in the final, resulting in a DNF. After a good first meeting, our luck would be short-lived, as at our second meeting we took a trip to the wall, bending both chassis legs.
It's 165 at John Rankin out of shape there. So 251 well clears. He now puts a lap on Megan Wilson in 246. On the back, 761 in second. And we've got cars stranded everywhere up here in the turnstile bend, including Callum Rennie. So we've got yellow flags in.
Yup, I had a lot to learn about racing and soon realised it wouldn't be as easy as I thought. However, by the end of our first grading period, I had moved from white roof straight up to red, which I held for the rest of the season. After finishing 4th in the Highland, it was now time for the Scottish Championship, our biggest race of the year. We pulled 9th position on the grid. By the first restart we were up to 5th. Here's a few laps of the action. Now we are on the last lap. I have made my way up to third, but I am too far back to mount any challenge on the front two. I crossed the line in third, however after post-race scrutineering I was promoted up to second place as the race winner was excluded from the results. This made 834 Declan Linsdell the 2019 Scottish champion. We finished our first year third in the points. 2020 saw us spend more time giving the car a makeover than actually racing it due to COVID. So with a fresh paint job, it was time to get back on track in 2021.
So whilst Jack Robertson still leads the Red Roost, it looks like he is holding them up slightly. David Sher and Callum Rennie just looking to get past. Non-contact of course in the Pro Stock Basics now. They were a contact.
Looking at our meeting on May 22nd, we sustained damage in Heat 1 and missed Heat 2. We got back out for the final and the car was going great. Well, that was until we were followed in.
Oh, race leader still Nicole Russell in the treble 9 car. Mr. Starter prepares at the St Andrews Cross for the halfway. David Sher runs wide there. Allows Callum Rennie up the inside as they go down the back straight. Out to pit bend. Under Mr. Starter, Callum makes the move on David Sher's stick. Oh, and then he's taken right out into the wall by the 251 car. So Callum stranded on the engine.
The 2021 Scottish was held in June over 2 days, qualifying on Saturday and the main race on the Sunday. I qualified second and was starting outside of the front row, and for some reason this would be the one and only race a rolling start would be used. I battled with the treble 9 and 23 cars for most of the race and dropped back to third. On the second last lap, the treble 9 car closed the door as I made a move up the inside for second, resulting in a puncture. The first of many Scottish Championship disasters. Next up, we head back to Crimond for the Highland Championship, where after a second in Heat 1 and a win in Heat 2, I found myself on pole for the main race. I led from the start, but 700 took to the outside, and after a few laps of side-by-side racing she got by, and in the end I had to settle for second. In August we brought out our new car, but this time we opted for the 1.4 Mark 6 Fiesta. A successful debut saw us bring home the final. We finished the 2021 national points in second place, only 1 point behind the leader. Took part in the 2022 January meeting at the Cowdenbeath Racewall. First heat turned out to be an incredible race, a real display of how good the racing and the basics can be. We were too wide with 3 or 4 rows of cars, and in the end we came away with the win. The old man 764 Dave Rennie managed to hang him for second. We would go on to repeat this result in Heat 2. The final however went a little bit wrong and I ended up with a puncture. This allowed 764 to get his first win of 2022 on the board. first meeting of the 2022 season went well and the car continued on its good form from the January meeting. We came away with 3 second places, putting us at the top of the points. A nice way to kick off the season.
Down the back straight, Cammy Dean defending from 64, Callum Rennie with treble 9, Nicole Russell and Leah Boyle, and indeed 600 Keelan Ogilvie. So close stuff in the Pro Stock Basics. Onto the final lap here. Down the back straight, one last time. 984 from 64. Again, no gap there on the inside. And it's going to be Cammy Dean. The 984 takes the win. Callum Rennie, runner up for the third.
Moving on to meeting number 2, and again the car was going well. A top 10 finish in Heat 1 was followed up by this win in Heat number 2.
Now ahead of 984, the top joy is number 6, so passing it down to 64, which is the good route to the outside, and it's 2 seconds, managed to do that now as they hit on to the back straight. Callum Rennie to the inside as they head round the top south end of 64. Doing it in the lead, benefiting from that big
We joined the final just as I passed 410 to move into 3rd spot. Looking to extend our points tally for the night, and with the laps ticking down, the chase was on to catch the 21 and 348 cars. Over the first couple of months of the season, a battle for the points started to develop between me and 348. By May, 348 was top of the table and I had the silver stripe. We travelled up to Crimond for the 2022 staging of a Highland Championship, and Heat 1 saw a battle for third between 5 or 6 cars, with me eventually crossing the line in third spot. Heat 2 started with a spin seen here courtesy of 600, who was later black flagged for contact on the 23 car. By the end of the race we had caught up with the pack but finished down the order.
The last lap time then for 298. Commander Hilton closing in on him. So I'm not sure if he's got a problem, but she's really closed in this last few laps. She's going to manage to get past him on this last bend. Doesn't look like it. So holds on for the victory then. 298 from 700. 698 and then 680. We'll bring you the rest of the results as soon as we can.
The results from the heats made the grid for the Highland Championship. I started 5th with 698, 680, 700 and 764 starting ahead of me in that order. The inside line proved to be an advantage as me and 700 followed 698 through to become the top 3 in the race from an early stage.
700 car, sitting in third. 698 from 700 then. GVD's been moved twice. Callum Rennie up into third. Jack Robertson making fast progress from the rear. Dave Rennie's already dropped all the way back from fourth on the grid. He's running second last.
Another great battle around Crimond prevailed with 698 and 700 side by side for most of the race. I was just stuck behind them hoping that the two of them would trip over each other.
So they're still racing side by side, 698 and 700. Ever so slightly, Joanne edging ahead. This is on close racing. We get week in, week out for these cars down at Cowdenbeath Racewall. If you've seen them there, it's always a pleasure to have them here at Crimond Raceway. So the lap boards come out, there's only 3 to go. We've still got this train of cars, and 700 just narrowly ahead of 698 as they cross the line.
With 3 laps to go, the two tangled, which held the 698 car up, allowing 700 to take the lead and me through into second.
Allowed Callum Rennie up into second, so 2 laps to go. And our defending champion just needs to fend off Callum Rennie for 2 more laps. Sounds easy. Oh, there's a Devil 9 was involved, didn't quite see how that happened. Callum Rennie looks round the outside of Joanne Hilditch. And 1 lap to go then for the Highland Championship for the Pro Stock A6.
I was too far back to cause 700 too much stress over the last 2 laps, and she held on to retain the Highland Championship, with me finishing in second for the second year running. 698 finished in third, rounding out the top 3.
700 is the champion!
Whoa, we can't see things like that, Samantha. We now take a look at the final from the 23rd of July meeting. Here we see me and 700 racing bumper to bumper until an attempt at a pass goes wrong and I take out the 700 car. This resulted in a black flag. This was the meeting before the Scottish, where in the final I went to the outside of 410, who leant on me and put me into the wall coming out turn 2. The 2022 Scottish would continue our bad fortune in the big race. I started on the outside front row with 764 on my inside. By turn 1 I was into the lead, but putting the power on down the back straight I found the car not going above 3000 revs. After the crash at the previous meeting the timing had jumped. We fought with the car to try and hang on to the lead for as long as we could, however we were unable to continue after the first restart. With 348 securing the points and me dropping down the leaderboard, the last meeting of the season should have been more of a fun meeting. However, 348 took a cheap shot in Heat 2 and as a result was loaded up for the rest of the night. A move that would not be forgotten. I started the 2023 season with a freshly built Fiesta. The first meeting was greasy and we struggled to find a setup to suit both me and the car. We came away with a 4th, a 6th and an 8th in the 3 races. Meeting number 2 was dry and after a second in Heat 1 we were chasing down another good finish in Heat 2. However, a crash on turn 2 seen us hit the 822 car. Before the yellow flag was called, I tried to squeeze through the gap between the wall and the 40 car and ripped the drive shaft out, ending our race. In the final we were back up fighting for a good finish. Here we join the action as I am in second and the back markers up ahead make things a little tricky for the 698 car who is leading the race. On May 20th we got a rare 4-race meeting at the Racewall. I got 2/3 in the heats and a 5th in the final. The all-comers race was going well until 348 tried to create a gap that wasn't there coming out of turn 4 and spun me, resulting in me going into the wall backwards. 348 received a 1-month ban.
Triple 9 and 698. Outside of 764. Just can't get around the outside though. Still stuck side by side. Goes in the back at 340. Balance no ridges on for 4. Triple 9 now goes around the outside of 65. 764 ran wide there. 64 here. Traction bends. 700 through into second. 340 going to be trying to hang on for that third place. 65 now. 698. Sideways down there, but holds on to it. So 65 now again.
On to Crimond, and in the final 698 took 764 out on turn 3. As me and the 340 car came by, 340 came off the throttle coming out the bend and I tapped his back bumper. As we came along the home straight he decided to run me into the infield tyres. 698 then ran into the back of me giving me a boost and I went straight across the corner and gently tapped the 340 car. This resulted in him spinning. I was given a 1-month ban for retaliation. The back end of the car was bent in for the second meeting in a row. Thanks to the boys back at the garage, it didn't take long to get her ready to go again. Moving on to July, and with the points battle starting to heat up, we headed to Crimond for our first appearance at the Monsters weekend. The grid was determined over 4 heats, 3 on the Saturday and 1 on the Sunday. I qualified 6th for the main race.
Second, trying to chase 764 down. 700 now third. That's in the back, more Whitfield spinner. He's got some damage in the front.
At the start of the race, 764 led the field with me battling 227 for 5th. On lap 2, 764 was spun by the 65 car, and then as he tried to pull to safety,
Oh, and Liam Boyle has just gone straight in and collected the front of 764. Now, did you get that one, Mr. Lumsden, over there? Not quite sure.
a complete restart was called with a few cars out of the race for various reasons. This put me on row 2 outside. I got a good start and by the end of the first lap I was leading. I led the race for a few laps before the backmarking 999 car hit the brakes 3/4 of the way along the straight, then as I went around her outside she ran me wide allowing the 700 car into the lead. We tried to challenge the 700 car but just could not get close enough to put any pressure on, and in the end we finished second. Returning from the summer break, here's the final from the 29th of July, where 65 and 764 have a tangle and I finish second. Back to Crimond, and in Heat 2 it all went wrong as I hit the infield tyre and got collected by the 65 car.
61 there. Get about 60.
The back end of the car had had enough, and so we set about moving all the mechanical parts of the car over onto the old shell of the 2022 car. The old car returned to the track on the 19th of August and returned in style, with this win in Heat 1 followed by a second place in Heat 2 and a second place in the final.
For races, having Callum Rennie, who is out in front of the block.
The next day we were back up at Crimond for the Highland Championship. I started row 2 inside.
It's a good start for 50, but 889 comes back and edges ahead as they head into the first corner. A bit of contrast there off the start of 911. Didn't really get going. 51 nearly finds the tyres down there in the pit bag. 50 fights her way back into the lead past the 889 car. But 64 up the inside as well as 889 brushes against the tyre wall on the home straight. There's a first tyre there for 51, which is pulled off onto the infield. So 64 Callum Rennie then your race leader, ahead of 50 Leona Anderson and 688 Lauren Ford. 889 Fraser Duff still there but sent for a spin by 484 on the pit bands. 889 does manage to get it facing the right way again, but with some damage to the back of that car. So that's going to be under investigation there. Still 64 Callum Rennie in the lead though. Seems to be getting away from the 50 car in second place, and 65 sideways on the track shot bend. So 64 still in the lead, getting away at the front. Keep it going. 227 Martin Logie seems to be closing in on the third place car of 688 Lauren Ford. He looks around the outside as they head into the pit band. He does manage to keep his nose alongside on the outside. Can't quite draw alongside. He does manage that under braking though. So still side by side for third place. 227 still fighting away in a bit of door-to-door bashing there on the entrance to the pit band. 700 Joanne Hilditch has fought her way up from the back of the grid. She's currently sat in 5th place. 227 still trying to make it work on the outside line. He does get his nose ahead on the home straight. 688 still not giving up on the position though. Fights back up the inside. 227 does manage to get the move completed on the entrance to the track shop end. The 227 Martin Logie now in the podium position. 688 now coming under pressure from 700 Joanne Hilditch. 644 still streaking away at the front, ahead of 68 Leona Anderson, 225 Martin Logie. The front bumper of the 484 car drags along the floor. 700 has managed to get clear into fourth place, ahead of 688, who now has 65 up the inside, through for fifth. 227 seems to be closing in on the 50 car for second place here. Does he have enough laps left though to make a move work? 64 laps. The 889 car of Fraser Duff. 227 definitely closing in a lot on the back of the 50 car. Now within a car's width. 50 runs wide on the entrance to the home straight. 227 has a loop, but decides there's not enough room to make a move work. He tries again on the pit bend, but thinks better of it. Going 484 nearly into the tyres on the home straight. 227 still behind the 50 car in that battle for second place. 700 John arriving on the scene as well. 2 laps to go for the race leader, Callum Rennie, trying to make his way past the lap car of 911 Stuart Russell. The 911 making 64 go the long way round. 64 eventually does get past. On a puncture there for the treble 9 car, Nicole Russell. She retires to the infield. 65 now up the inside of 700. The 889 car of Fraser Duff holds them both up. Checkered flag time though for the race leader. It's going to be a win for 64 Callum Rennie. 227 just gets ahead on the line. 50 across the turn.
He's not going, is he? Is he doing it? Is he...
Winning the Highland also put us to the top of the points table and meant we started from the back of the Reds. Here we have a fantastic 4-way battle for the lead in the final few laps of the last race before the Scottish. For a third consecutive year, I started outside front row for the start of the Scottish Championship.
Scottish Championship underway at Callum Rennie makes an excellent start and already he's into the lead. Down the match straight, a very good field of cars.
By the end of the first lap, I had a nice gap between me and second place. I just had to settle down and maintain that gap. The 700 car closed me in quick after getting into second place. A yellow flag was called for due to a crash involving 363. I knew I had to control the start and try to make a getaway at the green flag.
No doubt about who's got the pace here, but Callum Rennie is really going to be relieved that the yellow flag come out. It's Kai Chisholm, it looks like somehow ended up in the wall at the end of the home straight. We are under suspension then. This one certainly looking very interesting.
I managed to get another nice gap between me and the 700 car at the restart. However, within a couple of laps, she was starting to close back in. Restart number 2 and I again made a good start. 700 closed in quick and was soon on my bumper starting to apply the pressure. It was around this point the car started to push on slightly on the bends. .700 went for a gap on the inside but wasn't far enough up to take the line. However, the 227 car tried the same move on the 700 car halfway around the bend, resulting in 700 being taken out of the race. This time I didn't get as good a restart and had the 227 car pushing me around the bends from the green flag. I tried to hold the inside line, but with the car pushing on worse than before, 227 found a gap and left me out to dry on the outside line. I dropped back to 4th place where I would finish the race. After the flag, the 348 car would have a sneaky dig and try to run me out into the wall. On the 14th of October we had our final meeting at Crimond Raceway, which would be followed the next day by our final meeting of the season at the Racewall.
Winner of race number 1 for the Pro Stock Basics was 911 Stuart Russell. That went out, very close to them in the national points. 3 points advantage to 65 at the moment. Another 2 races today and another 3 tomorrow to go in their national points championship. Times up the inside.
In Heat 1 we struggled with the conditions, however in Heat 2 in the final we seemed to find our feet and came away with 2 race wins.
764 cars going late. Oh, 74 managed to take the win through the pumpkin. So, 64 then, Callum Rennie. Goes the line in first place, he takes the win. He ran will be devastated and lost out so late in the race. So it's red flag time then, red flag time for the Pro Stock Basics. Number 2.
At Cowdenbeath we again seemed to struggle a little bit with conditions. By the final the national points were pretty much settled. Midway through the race, while behind the 348 car and with flashbacks from that 2022 incident, I made my move. This resulted in a ban till the end of June 2024. For the new season we opted to register at Crimond Raceway, hoping for a boost in numbers up there. When we finally got back racing, we really struggled with the car and getting it to handle like it once had. incident at the end of 2023 had caused more damage to the chassis of the car than was visible, and it wasn't really until the end of the season that we got the car going, and proved it by winning Heat 1 at the final meeting of the season with this move. We finished 2024 as the Crimond Raceway National Points Champion. So that's us, up to date. I hope this has given an insight to the last 5 years of my racing. At the time of editing we have had 2 meetings in 2025, one being the non-point scoring winter meeting which can be found on the channel, and the second being the opening meeting of the season. The video for this should be up soon. A big thanks to the team and sponsors for all their help over the years. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share, and we'll see you on the next video.